Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chaos Zero Nightmare. I'm re-recording the intro of this video because we just got off the live stream where we looked at Yuki and some of the Season 1 stuff, and I am super excited. We are going to do a giveaway in this one, a $100 giveaway. Just be subscribed and leave a comment. You will go into the draw. I'll announce the winner about a week away in a community post. More details are in the description, but yeah, I'm super excited for this one. I wanted to re-record the intro because I wanted to include in this video, not just looking at the Season 0 tier list for a recap, and once again, with tier lists in this game, just keep in mind a couple things like this and also this. It is very true. Tier lists in this game, who cares? I'm using this more as a conduit to be able to just talk about the characters because I've had so much fun in the opening season. Leave any thoughts on characters you guys have in the comments, because at the end of the day, this kind of does stand true that no matter who you speak to, whatever they're maining at the moment is the best character in the game, according to said person, whoever it is. It's crazy. So just keep that in mind. We're just using this more to discuss the characters. Tier lists in this game, you know, play what you want at the end of the day because you can play whatever. But I also want to give you, before we go into the tier list and talking about the Season 0 recap, because dude, it's been a great first couple of weeks of a launch. I want to talk about Yuki because we did just have the stream where we saw more of Yuki's potential and stuff like that. And I'll give you guys my early predictions of where she might fall in the game when we compare her to the rest of the tier list. So let's jump into it and give you guys my general thoughts. Now, once again, this is still speculation. We haven't done enough testing to really know for sure where we will fall. But hey, we can always look back at this later on and see how wrong I was. Now, I was originally intending to skip her. I'm leaning more towards going for her because she does look incredibly fun in her playstyle. So if we take a look at this one, this skill is absolutely cracked. My favorite one is the one on position number 4. You basically get to draw 2 of your own cards if you're in Inspiration with this card, and one of them gets a damage boost. Now, just in case you're not in Inspiration, maybe the third one might be a good idea. The other ones have their place, but this one was really damn nice. I really did enjoy that one where you just basically draw 2 cards and then you start swinging. And then we have this one as well, which has the Inspiration that I really like, which is a -2 cost. So you've got this, which is a free cost. You can draw yourself into this, which becomes a free cost, even though it's not as much damage, and does give you some really solid AoE potential in that one. This Flash Slash, and that's the other thing about her that I'm really excited about. She has the potential to go single target. We got the Retain, 320% damage, 60% damage amount for each own card drawn for 1 turn, max 3. So you can get a big chunk of single target damage. Yes, it's expensive at a 2 cost, but you can get a big chunk of damage out of this bad boy for a single target build if you want to go for it, which is really nice. Now this 3 cost, maybe that has potential in the future as well. But once again, my favorite is this one. Into this one, into the second one. And then over here on this one was going to be, you know, the Trickery Strike. Really nice one in general where you can, where was the one? Draw 1 cards that have Inspiration effect. This is really nice for her to be able to search out her own cards, which has synergies with a bunch of the other effects that she has. We've got the Activate Inspiration. I'm not as big on that. As, you know, outside of the first turn, you know, you're normally going to be drawing them through card effects anyway, so they'll have it. Choose 1 card of this unit in hand, activate the Inspiration. Once again, I'm not a massive fan of that. So honestly, for this one, my big one is going to be this number 4 that I really like the look of. And then over here, this one, you can basically choose whether you want to focus in on AoE damage or single target damage as passive damage with the upgrade. But in general, I really like the look of her. She has really cool combo potential with draw decks and stuff like that. I would anticipate her, because even though her combos look really cool and stuff like that, I think she would be, if we look at the tier list, I feel like she might pop into a tier 0 on the AoE damage potential aspect of her kit, and the AP friendliness of it from what we're seeing. As for and that's what I feel like at the moment looking at her, even though she looks really fun and combo heavy and cool, it's just the damage numbers I'm not sure on, whether like in single target situations she'd be enough for tier 0. So I feel like kind of like a tier 0.5, because the single target may be a little bit clunky, even though there is a build for it. So I'm going to say like tier 0.5 for single target, maybe tier 0 for the AoE potential that she has, because she does have fantastic AoE potential. Not only can she get those, you know, 0 costs and stuff like that, she has ways to actually get the cards in hand, and then she has passive AoE damage. So that's kind of what I'm looking looking at for her. Let me know what you guys think. But once again, I'm really excited for this character. I'm going to pull her on my mate's account. We will be streaming at the time it goes live. And yeah, we'll pull her on my mate's account, and then we'll experiment and then see if I'm going to pull her on my account as well. But we'll do some testing and find out. Let me know what you guys think of Yuki so far from what you've seen. And now let's continue with the rest of the list. Firstly, the changelog, they did add a tier 0.5 to represent how close the tiers are, which I think was a good idea. They moved Amir to damage because a lot of people, like I said, are cooking up some really cool damage stuff and like that. But yeah, everyone else just kind of filtered into the extra tier 0.5 that they rolled into it. And once again, I think these tiers are so damn close. But let's have a chat and a bit of a reflect on the launch season of the game, which, dude, I have had so much bloody fun in the launch season of this game. It is ridiculous. I'm still completely addicted. I finally found a game that I genuinely have fun streaming. So I've been streaming most weekdays when I can. And it's absolutely fantastic. So let's go through it. Firstly, Hugo has a friend up in tier 0. Now, when I covered this tier list last time, this was probably the biggest change that I saw in my comments of my video, was that we had to get Mei Lin up there into tier 0 with him. Now, once again, this is representing Dimensional Twilight, and then we've got Chaos Manifestation. Now, they haven't done the Chaos Manifestation, but I'm just going to talk in a general sense here, because Dimensional Twilight, it's like, what do you value? Because, you know, if I look at my Rin, my level 50 Rin with the rare partner can 3-turn the Dimensional Twilight stage 10. I did, like, she could actually 2-turn it if I got like the proper hands on both turns. But like it depends on how you're gauging it. If it's a comfortability of clearing with max stars, I believe that's what this would be more catered to. Because if you're looking at doing the quote unquote 0 cycle or the 2 turn clears, then someone like Veronica just ain't good, because she's got 3 upgrade cards essentially that are just dead draws if you're trying to do it in turn 1, because the ballistas don't activate till the 2nd turn. So just keep that in mind. You're going to see different things depending on what people prioritize, as well as another thing. But once again, my man Hugo still up there. I love this guy. I think he's just so fun. I really enjoy him. His entire playstyle: get stacks, dump stacks with big follow-up damage. It's a really steady playstyle. The one problem he has is in Chaos runs, when you Epiphany out of the Outbreak of War for his main upgrade to get his stacks, he just feels kind of bricked. Then Mei Lin. Now, Mei Lin, I definitely think is deserving of tier 0 when we look at how universally strong she is. Hugo's like cool because you can bring like a DPS that sort of can break the enemies, and then he just does the extra damage on top. Whereas when we look to Mei Lin, she does the damage, she does the breaking because she has the universal break capacity. And we've all seen the combo videos of Mei Lin that look absolutely insane. I just love seeing that stuff. Any sort of fun combos, I just enjoy watching those highlights. The ones where you just basically stack, you cheese it with Veronica, whatever you want. You get your 2 basics, use your 2 basics, get your 2 basics, use your 2 basics, and then you use the finisher, and it's just like, it is so satisfying to watch. And Mei Lin definitely deserved of that tier 0 spot, in my opinion. She just feels like the most universal one that I think a lot of people just fell into and didn't have to stress too much. She's fairly linear in her playstyle. It's a matter of getting all the epiphanies in line to make that combo work, that specific combo. But once you get it, it's pretty nice. And in general, she's pretty comfortable to play, I would say. And any character that makes use of their basic attack, especially where it's her, like one of her main damage sources, is completely ridiculous, because there's so much in potentials that upgrade your basic attack. You know, basic attacks, removing them like harms your save data. How exactly, we don't know yet, but because of all those things and being a basic attack focused unit, it makes her so much better. And like, I feel like I see so many good Mei Lin builds as opposed to other characters, because she does just want those basics in there, so it gives you room to fiddle with the rest of the save data. But once again, we don't know exactly how it works. Tressa, I'm trying to get myself a save file for Tressa at the moment where I can run her as a main DPS, now that I've pulled Cassius, where I can run Cassius and Mika. Unfortunately, I haven't got the build yet on her. I want to get the build on her, then level up my Cassius, then I got to get a Cassius build. But in general, her thing is she can work really well as a main DPS if you pair her with the one that does more damage based on how many agonies there are, because you can stack so many agonies, and then she can do a big giga finisher with it, which is absolutely fantastic. Otherwise, the way I use her is just a support for Hugo to continuously allow Hugo to use his follow-ups. Tressa, I think, is just a really cool unit in her design, in that there is the two ways you can play her, as the supportive DPS or the big bursty solo DPS with crazy agony that just ticks forever when you start the turn. I think it's wicked. She is a great supportive DPS in my opinion, but I would say the best supportive DPS in the game has to be Veronica. She just works. It's funny. I feel like Tressa's here because she works with Hugo, and like Veronica, like Hugo's like the one character that she doesn't really work too well with, because she doesn't actually use targeting attacks. She's just using the ballistas at the end of the turn. And so Veronica with just about anyone else is absolutely amazing. Now, some characters will have an ideal team besides Veronica, but Veronica can just go into any team, because she's essentially got 3 upgrade cards, which are all pretty solid. Now, some are more functional than others, but she's got the one that generates the ballista. She's got one that helps her generate stacks of the reload. And then she's got the one that increases the stacks of the reload, the max stacks. So all she does is generate a ballista, works on pumping that ballista up, and then nuking with it. Then her 2 other cards that you're going to bring with her, Repose and Kowalski. Both are draw cards, and both of them can get to draw 2. Repose can be draw 2 for free, but you can get a Divine Epiphany on the Kowalski to be draw 2 for free. So she has 3 upgrade cards, so when you play them, and this is the exact deck I've got, I play the 3 upgrades, they're out of my deck, so your deck is completely thinned from that. Then I just have 2 Pot of Greeds with her. I have one Kowalski that costs 0, and I've got one Repose that costs 0, and she just has basically 2 cards that rotate through your deck that are draw 2 cards. It is like her support value, and then on top of that, she's still doing damage at the end of every turn because of her ballistas. I think she's honestly, in my opinion, probably the most universal strong character in the game when we look at splash ability, along with Mika, because Mika goes into so much. But in general, I think she's like, yeah, she's crazy. I'm so glad I pulled her. She's absolutely nuts. Mika, I think the big thing everyone is waiting for is a 5-star version of Mika, so that you can have a second AP generator. The thing is, she's just so efficient at healing and also at generating that AP that most people are using her in at least one of their teams. Most people probably want to use her in both their teams. So obviously there is some situations where you would rather one of the other supports, but in general, she can be splashed into just about any team and work quite functionally, whether it just be for the extra sustain she brings. Normally it is for the AP, but because we have things like, Gear Bag, and we also have Rally and stuff like that, and different utility cards you can put into it, they do screw with your save data, but, for a bit of a scuffed build where you get some of your basic attacks back in, you can actually add draw power into it as well to make her cover more bases, which ain't too bad. Then we have Khalip. Now, Khalip, I am hanging out on my free-to-play account to get her from my 300 selector. I think she is just a really solid character. We've spoke to this before. I did a big video with Bread probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, going through the Khalip type builds and stuff like that, but she is just really strong in that she is a great defensive character in terms of shielding. She's also great in her AoE damage to deal with threats, and she can just work really well, and her plus Mika can sort of like go with anything to sort of babysit them through chaos runs and stuff like that. It's not perfect, but those two are a great pairing, and then you've got the celestial tags, or the heaven tags as they call it now, and she is able to just nuke out some damage with those vulture attacks, and yeah, I mean she's just all around a really solid unit, and being an AoE unit when there isn't much AoE to be had is a fantastic thing to have. So that is that one. Next up, we have tier 0.5, formerly the tier 1, been bumped up, and we kick it off with Haru, the first banner character. Now, I see a lot of people talk about her dupe 2 that allows her to use Anchor Shot at lower cost. Some of the people that I've talked to also think it makes her lose too much damage on it. Whichever way you want to look at it, she can still perfectly function at 0 dupes. And, she's got that playstyle, which I pulled her. I'm not a fan of it, but I have seen a lot of people making good use out of her. The one thing that where she really does have an advantage at the moment is in the weekly boss. That dude is bloody hard on difficulty 10, and she's got the elemental advantage there, and she has those big hits, so she's going to be really strong for that one at the moment, and she already is very strong in it, so she has that distinct advantage in the current state of the game. But in general, really strong damage dealer. If you can cycle through her anchor shots and get some big damage out, there is a lot to be had. Then we jump into Kayron. Once again, this guy, I have still not got around to playing him. I haven't pulled him on my account, and he's just not one I'm excited to play on my friend's accounts. But if I speak to someone who plays him, The dude is OP, got AoE damage, he's got single target damage. He's a bit slower on the uptake, but you know, he does generate his own cards to then go ahead and exhaust. Plus he works well with any other exhausting, and he can actually just do big damage, both AoE and single target. So I think he's very versatile, but he's one that I don't see too many people playing. I feel like recently a lot of people have actually picked up the Renoa play, and Renoa is absolutely insane in combos. Like, I love watching Renoa play. I pulled her myself. I don't have the resources to level her yet. She is one on the back burner that I will level up. I would have probably leveled her instead of Rin if I had her before then. But yeah, the amount of dirge bullets you can generate with her and the crazy combos you can do with dumping dirge bullets, getting rid of your entire deck worth of dirge bullets, and then just firing off. It's crazy. I believe she may have one of the actual highest damage potentials in like a perfect setup, but in this game you never get a perfect setup, so you don't like to base it off of that. But she does have an insane amount of damage potential and comboing. So she does, and I said this early on, but I do think she does have a really good high skill cap in that, you know, you get rewarded for playing her well, which is super solid. Next up, we have Rin. Now, Rin, I was pleasantly surprised with. I pulled her, so I went ahead and built her. And like, the fact that mine at level 50 with a rare partner can 3-turn the Dimensional Twilight Stage 10 is crazy to me. She hits like an absolute truck. She does have more specific builds that she wants. She struggles a little bit in the Chaos mode, depending on what you get. But the build where you can search out her 2 cards from whether it be the hand or the discard pile and bring them back, you get a bunch of copies of that. 1 copy of your 2 nukes, a copy of your basic 1 cost if you need to enter the stance, and then maybe the 0 cost one to enter stance or get more damage. And she can absolutely cook, and she can shred a lot of damage. And you know, if you get some, like, a lot of people do like playing her with Ray. I was just playing her with my Mika because it's Mika's by one that has the better build, but I was playing her with Mika and Veronica, working really damn well. And like I said, she can punch out a ton of damage in not too many turns, which is super nice. Then we have Beryl. Beryl is on their watch list to possibly move up, I guess. But Beryl is a great engine with passive damage that generates over time. So she does have to activate her damage. It's not quite the same as Veronica, but you know, she can reduce the cost as she retains them in her hand. She has all those interactions. She's got an exhaust draw 3, which is just crazy to get some draw power on your first turn, or maybe you leave it and then use it on your second turn to get more momentum on your damaging turn. Whatever it may be, she is really solid at both the supportive and the damaging aspect. I view her kind of like a bit of a budget Veronica in a sense. They kind of fill that same role of having really good draw power and then supportive damage, but I still think Veronica does outshine the Beryl over there. Then Cassius, I'm so keen to build this guy. I've played him a bit on my mate's account, and I love Cassius. I think his enjoyment in just manipulating the deck, completing the quests, he's one of those ones that I just like thinking about it when I'm playing him and thinking about the options that he has to do. It's kind of similar to what Nia has as well. They're both those ones where you can, it almost feels like you have more control over your plays and what you can do. Like, a lot of characters, it feels like, okay, these are my options, A and B. Whereas these guys, they both kind of feel like maybe I now have a C and D option, and they make you think more so on Cassius. But once again, Nia does have that similar sort of that style of like, okay, which card am I going to choose? Which one I'm going to move? Can I manipulate the top card so that I can activate it with my Nia? There's all those little thoughts that come through your head, and it just feels like the game gets blown open when you play these two in terms of options. Once again, more so with Cassius, but same sort of thing with Nia as well. Both fantastic supports. Then we have Magna. Now, I have been seeing some nice things out of Magna lately as well, both in damage and tanking type potential. I do think as she gets her dupes as well, she does get more easy functionality. She gets Outbreak of War on one of her lead cards, and then if you get that piece of gear that allows you to activate a lead card directly from your hand at the start of the turn, well, now she's really snowballing. So she's one of those ones where I feel like the more you get into your Magna, the more she puts out, and that's the really cool thing about her. But she's that counterattack specialist, doing a ton with that one. Next up is Luke. Now, something you will often see with people talking about Luke is his second dupe. His second dupe does seem kind of crazy. I believe it's once you spend three of his, I was going to say dirge bullets, that's what I got used to, but 3 of his bullets, he will generate an extra 2. So we can actually go ahead here and take a quick look at it. It's this one here. When Luke uses bullet cards 3 times, generate 2 handgun bullet cards in hand. Cards crafted this way have damage minus 50%. It triggers once per turn, but it's a really nice way to get those extra bullet cards in hand, depending on what you're doing. I personally really want to test him out, level mine up and use him with Hugo because I'm the Hugo guy. But yeah, Luke, kind of similar to Renoa, a lot of cool combos that you will see, and you will see a lot of flashy stuff in replays that I absolutely love the look of. Next up, we have Selena. Now, Selena is a very interesting one. She's very break focused, but the thing is, I think even though in a vacuum, I really like the look of her kit in terms of that. I haven't actually played her too much since global launch, but like I like the look of it. The problem is I don't think she's really the best support for any character. Whereas I've seen a lot of Orlia combos that actually work incredibly strong. Ray is great for that morale buffing, whereas Orlia is more about the amping the damage the enemies take as opposed to the damage you deal with Wraith. So that's where those two fit their role. Whereas with Selena, like I like her kit, but it's like she's not really pushing herself into a place to be best in slot with any other characters. At least that's the way I'm reading it. Let me know if you guys are seeing anything else. Like I said, with Orlia, she's one I've never really been too interested in, but I have seen a lot of cool replays with her. Makes me more excited to go ahead and pull her and test out some of these combos. But yeah, she can really amplify that damage that the enemies are taking. Once again, Ray is more about amplifying the damage that your allies can deal. So they kind of work on both sides of the coin there. Then we have Maribel. Maribel is honestly in a funny spot at the moment. Because I feel like I don't really see anyone use her. Very similar to Selena is that there's just better options. A lot of characters now are just foregoing a shielder and just going in a full damage amp sort of direction. Whereas those that do go for the shielding, Khaleep and Magna just sort of fill the role better whilst also providing more damage and honestly a little bit more utility as well. Now, I do think there is some fun Maribel teams to be had, especially when you pair with Magna and you can really start stacking shields and dealing big damage with her skill. But once again, I think she's one of those ones that she just looks like a really solid general shielder, but people have been leaning away from that style of play. Amir, as I mentioned earlier, I've been starting to see some big damage stuff out of her, so people starting to experiment with that damage style play. So I will update you guys with that one. I might even do a video on the damage Amir and the strategy that's being used with her. Then we have Owen. Owen is the most hated guy at the moment in the game, or the most memed guy. But this guy, I really like the one ability especially that allows you to have an extra hit on attack. I've seen people using it with Haru and her anchor shot. When you get a giga built up anchor shot, you proc it, you get the extra hit, and then it's just like kaboom, things are dead. But it definitely has his place. And once again, that's the cool thing about this game, that everyone sort of has their place and they can be used in some way. Lucas, however, I have not seen anyone use him. We did see in the recent trailer that he was getting some usage by the dev team over there. So maybe he will see some use. But once again, I have not played with him at all. Like, he's the one character I haven't looked into, haven't tested since the launch, only pre-launch. And like, as we saw the skills, I gave him a quick look. Besides that, I haven't looked too much. So you guys let me know if I am missing something on Luke. But that is going to be it for the tier list for Season 0. Once again, I just wanted to have a chat about all the characters, my thoughts, because I've been thoroughly enjoying the game and I love having a chat about characters. And most importantly, don't forget this and also this, because at the end of the day, it is a game about fun. It's a PvE game. Do whatever the fuck you want. Make your own teams. And hey, maybe you'll have one of those cool highlight videos that I'll be looking at going, wow, this is fucking amazing. Anyway, I'm super excited because we're almost into the new season and I'm keen to see where this leads. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.